Hey guys, welcome back, it's Meg. Today we are going to be talking about the different damage profiles that we are seeing in a lot of these Dragonflight Season 1 dungeons and how to take care of them as a Mistweaver. The first one we're going to be talking about is rot damage. This is probably the best example for rot damage that I could find in these Dragonflight dungeons, although it does also exist in Azure Vault and in Court of Stars, so it's definitely something that you want to know how to take care of, as this is a super common type of damage pattern. Starting out, we are going to open with putting our 2 Renewing Mists out before we even start combat. That way we can get them rolling and work on extending them on our opener with Phaline and Rising Sun Kick, and then we're going to go ahead and pop Chi-Ji here just because this is really heavy rot. I also used my Moat because it caught me a bit off guard, but right now during Chi-Ji I'm spreading Renewing Mist, making sure that everyone has Enveloping on them. It's kind of easy to get Enveloping on people in this situation, mainly because we're all standing so close. But Mistweaver's strength is that we are actually very good at rot damage and we can do it relatively efficiently. I'm going to pop Manatee here to try and catch up a little bit. I've let some of my hots fall off, but I'm going to be reapplying them here as I continue my damage rotation. A lot of the rot damage is taken care of by Ancient Teachings, as well as the various other hots that we have access to. Renewing Mist and Vivify Cleave is going to take care of a portion as well. I am throwing out the instant Vivifies pretty much whenever I get a proc, because that is going to be doing a little bit of counter maintenance healing on people with Renewing Mist. And we're going to just keep maintaining this, and we are going to be losing health during this portion, but this isn't meant to be topping healing, this is meant to be maintenance healing, and then when we get Chi-Ji, we will play catch up, and we will cleave everyone to full, reapply our hots, and continue this cycle for the rest of the fight. Typically, I like to hold my Instant Vivify procs for other players, and then I will use my Healing Elixir for myself because it is mana free, and it is also a % heal, so I know exactly how much I will heal for. This is really good for maintenance, especially when you have high movement requirements, and you may not be able to plant and cast a Vivify. But on rat fights like this, even though Vivify may represent high, it is very, very important to have your hots out as well, because Vivify only gets stronger when you are utilizing the other hots in our toolkit. Next up, we are going to be going over the Raging Tempest. His damage profile is a little different given that we get a healing buff, but the way that we triage is still the same. It is occasional Tantrum with occasional burst, the Tantrum being the Thunderstorm, and the occasional burst being the Lightning Strike that hits everyone in the party. I already had my 2 Renewing Mist charges out, and I'm going to work on extending those while Ancient Teachings is active so I can get some maintenance healing there, just to keep the tank up as well as any other damage that may be going out. And I'm going to continuously extend those throughout the fight as we're using Rising Mist, because this is going to be a large portion of the maintenance healing that takes care of Grievous, as well as helps people recover from the Lightning Strike while I am gathering orbs, and it's also going to help me recover while I gather the orbs, because on application they do a little bit of damage. The Tantrum has come out, and I went ahead and put Cocoon on our Hunter because they are the squishiest, and then I popped Chi-Ji, and I am spreading my Envelopings throughout the party while using the charges on them. I am using Healing Elixir on myself because I had both charges. It is off the GCD, and I am able to heal the rest of my party with things that they need, while also being able to save mana on my part, as well as having it be efficient due to the fact that it's not on the GCD. As we go back into recovery mode, I am refreshing the hots on everyone that may have fallen off during the Tantrum, and for this, because I am running Gift, I do have Chi-Ji for every single portion of this, so that is a big help, but if I didn't have it, I would rely on Vivify and Vivify Cleave, which is going to be a majority of the healing that you see outside of cooldowns for damage like this. Thankfully, we have access to Gift, and we can rely a lot less on Vivify and Vivify Cleave. I know a lot of people have said that it's a bit underwhelming or that it doesn't feel strong enough, and that's something that I agree with to an extent. I understand why, but at the same time, we do have to rely on it less because of the shortened cooldown that we get on Bird compared to Shadowlands. I'm going to go ahead and throw out an Essence Font here just because my Phaline is not going to be hitting my whole party, and I want to make sure that everyone has that Essence Font hot for the Chi-Ji Gusts of Mist and the other gusts from Vivify. That's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting here when I am building and spending stacks. They're going to not be getting healed while I am building, and then when I spend, they should get a big burst of healing. There's actually very few instances in any of these Dragonflight dungeons where a 1 minute cooldown is not going to be available for something. That being said, You will have some time, like on trash packs or on failed boss mechanics or something, where you may need to heal and you don't have cooldowns, but those things are very few and far between. But it is always a good idea to have all of your hots rolling, as well as your Essence Font and Ancient Teachings and all of that. Those are very important to keep active because it does add up over the course of a dungeon. Ancient Teachings has yet to been beaten overall for me. I haven't had a single dungeon where Ancient Teachings was not the highest by a significant margin. So it is uptime on Ancient Teachings is very important, even though it doesn't feel like it's doing a lot. It is putting in work on maintenance healing as well as trash packs. So this boss is a little bit of a mix between the burst damage and the rot damage. He does a little bit of both, but we are going to go ahead and start to cover Herja, as she is pretty much just burst damage. So far this is the only boss that has made me consider running something other than Rising Mist. I know that there's a couple of builds out there and I'm not a huge fan of them, but they are effective to a point. But this is going to be Eye of the Storm, this is her burst, and this is the scary part. Once again, we are going to have Chi for every single one. Before the first tick, I'm going to make sure that Bird is active and I get at least one Enveloping Breath out on the party, and then I'm just going to build and spend stacks as quickly as I can. If I need to use defensives, I will. I can also use Cocoon on someone else, as well as Healing Elixir. So the main portion of this fight is just getting through that Eye of the Storm. The Expel Light doesn't do a whole lot if you don't take more than one instance of light. We're going to head right back over to Electricity after this, and it is going to be the same thing. We're going to prep the same, and this fight is rinse and repeat, but it does definitely hurt a whole lot. Cocoon is actually quite nice in here. Revival does a decent job at topping people with Essence Font Hots, as well as it's instant, so it's kind of like an oh no button. It can be used in that situation, though it isn't something that you should rely on as that. Even though it is a cooldown, we do not have the 100% scaling in yet. That doesn't come until 10.0.5. Here I have my Renewing Vest out. I went ahead and popped a Dampen because I was a little low to begin with. Bird is going out. I went ahead and used my 2 healing elixirs after using Enveloping Breath on our hunter, and then I used my instant Vivify proc because I was not going to have time to build stacks of Chi before that last tick for our Warlock. We do get a bit of downtime here where you can spread your hots, and if you are brave you can go in and try to extend your hots, but I am not that brave yet. Maybe I'll get there, but I honestly haven't found it worth the risk for braving the Sanctifies. So as we head back over, I'm going to put down my Stomp, I'm going to make sure that I have hots rolling, Essence Fonts going out. We're going to try and triage a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and pop Bird. The TLDR of this entire video is make sure you keep your hots up. It is the best thing you can do for your mana and for your group health and your own mental health. So make sure you're doing that. Also make sure you are properly utilizing your cooldowns, both throughput and defensives. Right, and that brings us to the end of this video. I hope that this was helpful. If you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitch, Twitter, or Discord. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.